All right, let's dive into Vanna. This project is trying to change how we think about data ownership. You know that saying, data is the new oil?
Yeah.
Well, Vanna wants to put you in control of your little piece of that oil field.
Right now, it really is like we're the ones providing the raw materials for this whole data economy. But we don't see any of the profits.
Hmm.
So Van wants to change that by giving you more control and even a share of the rewards.
Okay, I like where this is going. But how do they actually do that?
Well, they're tackling it from a couple of angles. The first one is giving you actual ownership of your data.
Okay.
So you can store it yourself, either on your own server or in a secure environment that Vanna helps set up.
So I don't have to upload everything to their cloud.
No, not at all. It's all you. You decide when and how your data is shared, and you decide which organizations or projects can use it.
That's a pretty big difference from how things work now. But let's be honest. I'm not a data scientist. What can I actually do with all this data I'm supposedly owning?
That's a good question. That's where the data liquidity pools come in, DLPs. These are basically like data co-ops, where users can pool their data to make it more valuable for training AI models.
Wait. Explain that like I'm five. What is a data co-op? And why would I want to join one?
Okay, so imagine you have this recipe for the best chocolate chip cookies ever. On its own, it's valuable to you. But what if you could combine it with thousands of other amazing cookie recipes? Now you have a data set that can be used to train an AI to bake the best possible cookie.
Okay, so I'm basically contributing my data to this, like, collective baking project.
Yes.
But I still own my recipe.
Exactly. And here's the best part. When you contribute to the DLP, you earn Vanana tokens. These tokens represent your share of the value that's created by the AI that's being trained on all that data. It's like you're getting royalties every time someone uses that AI to bake a really good cookie.
Oh, so now I see where the whole data is oil thing comes from. I get to control who drills on my data, and I get a cut of the profits.
Exactly. But there's another important thing, privacy and security. Vanna uses a lot of high-tech tools, like secure enclaves and cryptographic proofs, to make sure your data is safe and private, even while it's being used to train the AI.
Okay, now you're using some big words. Can you explain that a little bit more? How does that all work?
So secure enclaves. Think of them like tiny, super secure computers inside of a computer, like little digital vaults where your data is encrypted and protected. Even if someone gets into the system, they can't get into the enclaves without your permission.
So even Vanna can't see my data.
Nope. And the cryptographic proofs, think of those like receipts that guarantee that your data is only being used how you said it could be.
That's impressive. But how do we know that Vanna can actually do this? Is this just a concept or is it real?
It's definitely a real project. They even launched on Binance Launch Pool.
Binance.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal, right?
Absolutely. Binance is one of the biggest crypto exchanges out there.
Yeah.
So being on Launch Pool is a huge step for them.
So they offered 4.8 million Vanna tokens as rewards. And Vanna is listed on Binance. Does that mean Vanna is going mainstream?
Well, it's a good sign. This kind of exposure really helps.
Okay.
But the real question is whether this model of data ownership can actually take off.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What does all this mean for the average person? Why should I care about Vanna? Or this whole data ownership thing?
That's the question, isn't it? This is about a lot more than just your data. It's about changing how we interact with AI and who benefits from this technology.
Okay, I like that. Let's dive deeper into that.
Okay, so it's about shifting the power, from those big corporations to people,
Yeah.
democratizing AI, making things more fair.
Okay, but how does Vanna help do that?
Well, imagine all the AI we use isn't controlled by a few companies. It's owned by everyone, by all the people who contribute data.
Wait, collective ownership of AI, how would that even work?
It's complicated, but everyone who contributes data to those DLPs, they would have a say in how the AI is developed and used. It would be like a democracy. But for artificial intelligence,
Wow, that's a big change from how things work today.
it is.
Okay, so we've got data ownership, AI training, tokenized rewards, and maybe a revolution in how we govern AI. What else?
We've just started. Think about all the other uses, like in scientific research or healthcare, even creative industries.
Oh, yeah. If people control their data, it could totally change how research is done.
Exactly. Imagine researchers having access to tons of patient data, securely stored, controlled by the individuals. It could lead to so many discoveries and new treatments.
But I could choose to share my health data. with a research project.
Yeah.
That I believe in.
Yes, you would know exactly how your data was being used.
Yeah.
And your privacy would be protected.
That's really powerful. What about those other fields? You mentioned creative industry.
Yeah, so think about musicians and artists. Right now, they have to sign away their rights to these big platforms and labels. But with Vana, they could own their work and use their data to connect directly with fans, even get paid every time someone streams their music.
So they cut out the middleman.
Yeah, and it goes beyond individuals. This model could lead to a whole new wave of creativity, artists working together all over the world.
I see. So Vana isn't just about personal data. It's about changing the whole digital world.
It really is. It's about challenging how things are done and deciding who benefits from this technology.
Vana sounds great in theory. But are there any challenges? What could stop it from working?
Well, one of the biggest things is adoption. To make this work, we need a lot of people to use it and to embrace this new idea.
It's like trying to get everyone to switch to a new phone at the same time.
Yes.
It'll take time.
Another challenge is scale. Can Vana's technology actually handle all the data and keep it secure?
Those are good questions for their engineers.
Yeah.
But what about the social or ethical side of things?
That's really important. Technology isn't neutral, so as these platforms grow, we need to talk about the impact on society.
What if it creates a bigger gap
Yeah.
between the people who understand this stuff and those who don't?
That's a good point. We need to make sure this doesn't make things worse. Education is going to be key.
What about people using this for bad reasons?
That's where community governance comes in. Platforms like Vana are working on that.
So it's not perfect, but it's a start.
I think so. It's about recognizing that data is power and that we need to control it. Vana is trying to build a better future, but it's up to all of us to make sure that happens.
This feels like a big moment, like we're changing how we think about data.
I agree. We're moving from data extraction to data empowerment.
So where do we go from here? What can our listeners do?
Well, Vana needs to keep building their technology and growing their community.
Right.
And for your listeners, they should learn about data ownership. Look into projects like Vana. Ask questions about how their data is being used. We're building the future of data right now, and everyone has a part to play.
This is a lot to think about. I mean, we always hear about AI changing the world, but who controls it?
Exactly. That's what makes Vana so interesting. It's not just the technology. It's about who benefits.
So if this works, if Vana takes off, how could it change things?
That's the big question. It's hard to know for sure. But if people control their own data, the world will be very different.
Like how?
Well, for one thing, we could have way more different types of AI. Right now, it's just a few big companies. But if individuals can contribute data, we could have all sorts of new AI applications.
So more people working on it?
Yes. And more importantly, AI that reflects different values.
Right, because we've seen how AI can be biased.
Exactly. But if more people are involved with different backgrounds, then AI can be more fair.
That makes sense.
That's the goal, right? To make AI a force for good, where
Yeah.
everyone benefits.
This has been fascinating. To our listeners, pay attention to this stuff. This conversation about data ownership, it's just getting started. Yeah. Think about how your data is being used.
Yeah.
Look into projects like Vana, the future of data. It's happening now.
This has been a great deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.